Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to use limiters when mixing bass guitar. We're going to be using limiters to even out bass guitar today, but before we dive in, if you're ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as a mixing engineer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without any more of the hassle and without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and explore limiting bass guitar. So let me hit play here on this bass guitar so you can hear kind of where it's sitting here. I've got some EQ and compression on it, but it's still kind of all over the place. If I zoom out here, you can see there's quite a few peaks here on the bass guitar where it jumps around a little bit and he kind of hits it harder. And it's making the bass kind of jump all over the place. And bass isn't something you want jumping all over the place. You want it to be even and you want it to be solid. So let me hit play here. You can kind of hear our raw bass guitar. The only thing we have going is the usual frequency separation I have on bass. So the DI is our low end and the amp is our top end. So here's our raw bass sound. So you can see it's kind of moving all over the place, right? It's not really where we want it inside the mix. We have some quieter notes, and then some of these lower notes, they jump really far out front. That's not what I want for the sound. Let me throw in this first EQ here. I'm going to take out these high boosts here. Just want to control the low end, and we're going to duck out some of the low mid area here. So that gave us some control in the bottom end, but we're still getting some peaks that are jumping all over the place. Now, instead of reaching for this compressor right away here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a limiter, and we're going to use a chain of limiters to get our bass in check here. So I'm going to throw this first limiter on, and let's see where we're sitting for our bass here. So at our loudest point in the song, we're doing about 3 dB reduction here with our limiter. You can hear the harder we push into our limiter, kind of the more distortion we're getting in our low end. That's why what we're going to do is we're going to stack limiters. So we're doing about 3 dB reduction with this one. I'm going to duplicate this limiter down now, and what we're going to do is we're going to push a little bit harder into it now. So we'll go to the same spot here where we have the highest point, the highest peak here, and we'll do 3 dB more reduction. So I pulled back that first limiter a little bit, so we're only pushing 3 dB into it. We're only getting about 2.5 dB reduction. Same kind of thing with the second one here, only about 2.5 dB reduction, a little bit over, but I'm gonna go one more here. We're getting a little bit of distortion, but that's okay. I think that kind of stuff will help it cut through the mix a little bit better. Some distortion on the bass guitars, not always a bad thing. It can help it be heard inside the mix here, especially on smaller speakers. Let's see if we can push it one more time, and let's see where we end up here. We'll go back to that same spot here, our biggest peak, see where we end up. That's not bad. Feel how solid our bass guitar is now? It doesn't feel like it's jumping all over the place anymore. Let's get our last EQ in here now and see where we're sitting. Hear how our bass is sitting now? A little bit of low end boost after our limiters here, and suddenly our bass is sitting really, really evenly here inside the mix. All I did is just balancing it up with our drums here now. Let's throw it inside the entire mix and kind of see where we're sitting. Look at me. 4, 5, 6, tell me when will you miss? 7, 8, 9, no, it ain't fine. 1, 2, 3, won't you look at me? 4, 5, 6, tell me when will you miss? 7, 8, 9, no, it ain't fine. 1, 2, 3, won't you look at me? 4, 5, 6, tell me when will you miss? 7, 8, 9, no, it ain't fine. Suddenly our bass feels rich, it feels really solid, and it feels even throughout our track here. The key is doing a little bit at a time with each limiter here. So we're doing about 2.5 dB reduction here on our loudest point with our first limiter, pushing it into our second limiter. You can see nothing's changing here throughout our limiters. Because we pushed into that first limiter, all we do is we keep everything the same on each limiter here, and we get the same amount of reduction because we push that same amount back into the ceiling, back into the limiter on each one after. So we start with this one, 2.5 dB reduction. Next one, pushing the same amount back in, we get that 2.5 dB reduction. And then our third one, 2.5 dB reduction. So take a listen, just our bass guitar here, with and without our series of limiters. Won't you look at me? 4, 5, 6, tell me when will you miss? 7, 8, 9, no, it ain't fine. 1, 2, 3, won't you look at me? So if you're struggling to get your bass guitar to sit in the mix, try using limiters in series. So doing a little bit of work with each limiter, and then 3, 4 limiters in maybe, you're gonna have a nice, even, and solid low end that will give you a lot of power from your bass guitar. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow as a mix engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.